Hello 7.2 and 7.7. This is Mrs. Sheehan with your first lesson back to look at Oliver Twist since our Christmas break. So if we could start off today by putting the title of Spring Term 1, Oliver Twist Continued, and then today's date, which is Tuesday the 12th of January 2021. Underline both of those things, and then in the top left hand corner of your exercise book page, can you just write Mrs. Sheehan? So what I'd like you to do while we're doing the home learning is write Mrs. Sheehan in the top left hand corner for my lessons, and Mrs. Spires for the lessons that she teaches you. It just makes things a little bit clearer for you and for us when we eventually might get to look in your books. So once you have done that, if you are taking a bit of time to do that, pause the video and then restart. And I'm going to ask you to go onto Teams under our chat section, and I would like you to click on the quizzes link that's there. So that will then take you to a website where there is a quiz with 10 questions about Oliver Twist and what we've studied so far, what we know about the story. And it should take you about 5 minutes. It's just really as a recap and to get your mind back into the novel. I'll be able to see how you get on. There's no, rewards for doing well or punishment for doing badly. It's just to benefit you and I, to remind ourselves where we are and for me to see what you've remembered. So pause the video, go onto Teams chat, and answer those questions, please. So we're going to begin again now after doing our starter. So the learning objective for today is to consider Dickens' presentation of the character of Nancy. So these are two snippets from the film Oliver Twist. Nancy is the character in the red dress, hence I've put the little blue arrow to her. So this is the character that is introduced that we're going to start looking at. So the first task I'd like you to do is to answer the following two questions. Now I've broken them up with a little yellow line that you'll see within the green box here. So your question one, your task one is using what we know from the novel, from quotes that we've read and the context below. So in the context of the two extracts and information that is below, please answer question 1 and 2. So for question 1, so the context is that when Dodger and Charlie Bates returned to Fagin without Oliver, Fagin was furious, and Bill Sikes, who was a hardened criminal who was visiting Fagin at that moment, insisted somebody must find out what's being done at the office, or the police station. That's what he's referring to. Now the first question linked to that is they are obviously worried, Fagin and Bill Sikes, that Oliver has peached. What do you think the word peached might mean? So in the context of him not coming back with Charlie and Dodger, and Fagin and Bill Sikes wanting to know what's gone on at the office or the police station, why do we think they're worried that Oliver has peached? So in a full sentence, what do you think the word peached means? Okay, and then your second question is Dickens' novel has its humorous moments. How is Dickens being comical here? So the part that I want you to think about is Dickens comments that Dodger and Charlie Bates and Fagin and Mr. William Sikes happened, one and all, to entertain a violent and deep-rooted antipathy to going near a police office. So an antipathy is basically a very strong aversion to something. So Dodger and Charlie, Mr. William and Sikes, all of them have this real violent and deep feeling that they don't want to go near a police station or a police office. Why do we think this is? And why do you think, or how is he being comical and humorous here? So question 2, how is Dickens being comical when he says this? So spend about 10 minutes answering these questions. Then when you're done, we're going to feed back to the class and see what we came up with. Okay, so for task 2 we're going to have a look at this extract and then answer some questions about Nancy. So the extract reads as follows. The Jew's countenance fell. He turned from this young lady who was gaily, not to say gorgeously attired, in a red gown, green boots and yellow curl papers, to the other female. Nancy, my dear, said the Jew in a soothing manner, what do you say? That it won't do. So it's no use trying it on, Fagin, replied Nancy. What do you mean by that? Said Mr. Sikes, looking up in a surly manner. What I say, Bill, replied the lady collectedly. Why, you're just the very person for it, reasoned Mr. Sikes. Nobody about here knows anything of you. And as I don't want 'em to neither, replied Nancy in the same composed manner. It's rather more no than yes with me, Bill. She'll go, Fagin, said Sikes. No, she won't, Fagin, said Nancy. Yes, she will, Fagin, said Sikes. And Mr. Sikes was right. By dint of alternate threats, promises and bribes, the lady in question was ultimately prevailed upon to undertake the commission. So pause the video and reread that if you need to, or I recommend that you do. So we always say to reread things at least 3 times. So read it through another twice. You can rewind the video, so I read along as you do, or just read it along to yourself, and then you can restart the video. Now we're going to look at the question that goes along with that extract. So what can you infer about the character, or Nancy's character, from that extract that you've just read? I will also put that extract on Go for Schools as a standalone Word document if you want to download it or enlarge it somehow while you read through it. So first of all, highlight, if you have the document to hand, or you can do it through Word, 3 or 4 quotes which you feel reveal something about the character Nancy. If you can't highlight it either online or on Word or by hand, you could just list in your workbooks 3 characters from that 3 quotes, from that extract that you feel reveal something about her. And now I want you to answer the main question of what can you infer about Nancy's character from that extract. So make sure that you write in detailed sentences and try and zoom in and explode each quote. So you might want to comment on the quote down here where she says, no, she won't, Fagin, said Nancy. So you might want to zoom in on this and say about the fact that this quote sounds confident. She sounds quite feisty, quite brazen, maybe brash. She isn't afraid of these strong male characters. You might then want to talk about the context that they're in and why that's actually quite striking and important and unusual. But we'll discuss some of the options that you could come up with after you've had a go at these questions independently. So highlight or list the 3 or 4 quotes that you feel reveal something about Nancy, and then in detailed sentences try and zoom in on those quotes and really explode them. So I've put here aim for 3 piece paragraphs. Now what we mean by that is we've always done P paragraphs, but this is a bit more skilled than the standard P paragraph. So I'm looking for your standard point and evidence or quote, and then the A stands for analysis, but we also could call that explanation. And then the C is the context, and then the E is the effect. So context is the context that the novel's in, so the time period, what we already know about the story, and then the effect is what effect this particular quote then has on us as a reader. So this is the standard sequence that you would follow for a piece paragraph. What I'd like you to do is just have a go at this section here where you answer the question, what can you infer about Nancy's character? Have a go at zooming in and exploding the quotes yourself. And then when we do some feedback, we can develop our ability to do some piece paragraphs, and I'll model a paragraph that you can then have a go at replicating for a different quote. So for now, on to question 2, following the 2A, 2B structure. Any questions, let me know.